morning, St. Lucia. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, I have a special guest on set here with us, and don't let his height and size fool you, because he's a powerhouse, especially when it comes to calypso. I have the mighty Sizzler here with us, and I'm just going to let him introduce himself.
Good morning, St. Lucia. My name is Brandon TJ Filgens. I'm going to be in Form 2 come September at the St. Mary's College, and I am 12 years old.
Great. Now, a lot of our viewers, I'm sure, are familiar with you because definitely you came out and made an impact this carnival season. He has been part of the Ambassadors Calypso's tent, and actually he's been with them for, how many years have you been? Is it
3 years?
3 years. So he's definitely not a stranger to the stage, but this was your first time competing on the national stage, correct?
Yes, this is the first time I have competed.
Great. Now, how was your experience throughout? Because we know you even made it up to semifinals.
It was exhilarating. It made me feel like I could do anything, because just 2 years ago there was an age limit saying that children as young as me couldn't participate in the national competition, and now I took part and got all the way to the semifinals. Even though I did not get to the finals, I am still happy that I got the experience to be on the same stage with greats like T.C. Brown, Pep, Invader, and Minel. Those people really inspire me, and I'm going to continue to do my best and just try all I can to become like them in the future.
Nice. And of course, this being your first experience competing, how did you feel, especially as they lowered the age range that you could take part? How did that make you feel as a young Calypsonian coming up?
It made me feel very elated, because I really wanted to take part in the national competition for some years now, but the age limit was there, so I couldn't take part. When I first came up with the idea, I was like 9, but the age limit was there, so I had to wait until now.
Nice. So you have actually, since the age of 9, wanted to take part with Calypso on the big stage?
Yes.
So where did your love for Calypso really start?
Well, it started around when I was 2, because my mother always used to play songs, Celine Dion songs, Invader songs, all sorts of songs, Ninja Dan, all sorts of genres. But I just took a liking to Calypso.
And you know, I find that very interesting, especially because you find a lot of younger persons are drawn towards dance hall, or they're drawn towards going into soca. And it's nice to see the interest, and if anybody has seen your performance, they can see the passion that you deliver with. So it's really interesting, you know, how comes you leaned more to Calypso and not towards, you know, some of the more popular genres?
Because even though my mother used to play soca and Calypso and all sorts of genres, I don't know why I just gravitated to Calypso.
Nice. And is it perhaps too because even the songs that you came out with this year had really strong messages, especially for the youth? Is it perhaps you like being that sort of storyteller? What exactly?
I like setting an example for children that's around my age, because most people my age start doing bad things like lying, stealing, smoking, and all sorts of things, and by the time they're like 18, they're already full-fledged criminals.
So if you had to give a message to maybe any of the younger persons watching right now, what would you want to tell them?
Well, I'd want to tell them to never follow bad company, always follow your dreams, and try your best not to give up, because when you give up, you might lose your talent, and if you try to do it in the next 5 years, you might not have the same talent. You might be worse than some other people who have no talent now, but if they keep on trying, they'll be way better than you in the future.
Great. And what can we look out for from Mighty Sizzler?
Well, you could look out for more of me in the coming years, because I might just go into the power soca category, but I will still be in Calypso. I'll never leave Calypso, because Calypso is my roots. My roots. Sorry.
That's not a problem. So there we have it. This is the Mighty Sizzler, definitely passionate and one of our up and rising stars, helping to keep Calypso alive. So the future looks really good. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, we have lots more in store. Hey, welcome back, St. Lucia, and I'm super excited because as you can see, I have our own homegrown Cdale in studio with us, and of course this is an intense, crazy, chaotic week for you.
Very chaotic, very busy.
We have Transcend coming up and you have Soca Monarch. You're in both Groovy and Power.
Right. Yeah.
How is the preparations going for you right now?
Well, like you mentioned, we've been very busy. I've been up since 4 a.m. rehearsing for Transcend, and we doing radio interviews and TV interviews and doing errands for the show, and then preparing for Soca Monarch, Groovy and Power, and of course in between that we have shows Sexy in Black, Wicked in White. So it's a very busy time for me.
Now, a lot of people of course know you from your music.
Right.
A lot of people maybe don't know what really makes Cdale as the artist. So tell us a bit more about you.
Well, I first started off DJing. I always had a passion for music. I started DJing, and eventually I figured that I really wanted to create music rather than just playing it. So I decided to venture into being an artist. I started in 2007, and most people know me when I released Pandemonium in 2014.
Right, that was like your breakout song
right
there.
My breakout song. Prior to that, I was pretty much under the radar. But I'm happy to say that I continued along my journey being a musician, and I'm happy to say also that it paid off, because before 2014, I was actually ready to give up. Pandemonium for me was my saving grace, because when I released that song, I said if this one didn't take off, I would be done with music. And I'm happy to say that it did take off, and it has helped my career as a musician and as an artist to grow.
All right. Now, throughout this journey, because again, like you said, most people might just know you from more recent, from 2014.
Right.
But being in it for this long, what has your journey been like? What have been some of your challenges?
It's been a difficult journey, very challenging. Coming up in the music industry, it's very difficult. First of all, you sometimes have no sense of direction. You're creating music, but there's no one to tell you, hey, you need to go this route, you need to do this or not do this. So sometimes you're basically just left sort of aimless. All you know is you have a love for music and you want to put music out there, but everything else is what is challenging. Getting on shows, even getting radio and TV interviews sometimes can prove to be challenging. I was actually reminded about those challenges from a up-and-coming artist just last night. He messaged me and he was telling me that his song has been used to advertise 6 events, and of all those 6 events, he was on none of the shows. And he's been trying to get on, and he's very frustrated. And it took me back to when I was going through the same thing. So I just shared some encouraging words with him and let him know that you have good music, you have talent, but you just need to be persistent. Being in this business is very hard. You have to be strong-willed, and you must be very persistent. Another artist, her mom actually approached me, and she said to me as well, she's going through the same thing, I should say. Her mom is a manager, and her mom was saying that every event is the same artist, and she has nothing against the artist, but she thinks that the up-and-coming artists should have a platform as well to perform at the different shows. And just having that conversation with her, again, it took me back to that place where I was trying to get my footing in the industry. And because of that conversation, I decided to feature her on the show on Transcend, because I definitely understood her struggle. And I know sometimes as promoters we try to have the popular names on the shows, because we want to attract people, but we must also recognize that the young up and coming artists, they are the future stars. And my position as an artist and a promoter, I could appreciate both sides. So I of course afforded her the opportunity to be on the show, and as an artist I can tell you, you remember the people who help you on your way up. So I want to serve as sort of an inspiration and to encourage the artists to, you know, continue working hard, putting out good music, and everything else will fall into place.
So, you know, just recently you became the brand ambassador
Right.
for Peter Bear. So how did you feel in the moment when you were told that you'd be the new ambassador? Well, the first ever
Right.
ambassador. So that's historic.
Yeah, it definitely was a blessing. I have to thank everybody at the brewery. I'm just happy for me that you have a group of people, you have a company who believe in your vision. They believe in Cedale as an artist. They believe in Cedale, the brand, and for them to align themselves with me, I think that's a major blessing. I just chalk it up to the hard work that I've been putting in over the years. And again, I have to thank everybody at the brewery for making this happen. I try to serve as a good brand ambassador. And I also, what I like about it too, again, it shows a level of progress in the industry. So it may start with me, but eventually you will see other artists being endorsed by different companies.
All right, great. Well, listen, everybody, this is Cedale. He is our own homegrown talent. Definitely, I love the passion that you have. I mean, I knew you from even when you just started off and
Right.
before. So it's nice to follow and track that journey. And anybody else who's looking to get into soca or anything else, I think the message to take back right now is the moment. Get into it and don't let anything stop you from what you want to go after.
Correct.
So, hey, I know where I'm going to be on Carnival Saturday, and that's going to be at Transcend. So you better be there.
Yes, I hope everybody comes out. We're looking forward to putting on a great show. We have a great production lined up. So we're just hoping that everybody comes out. Just to let everybody know, Transcend is going to be on the inside of the Pigeon Island National Landmark. I know there's a bit of confusion.
Right.
Remedy is at Pigeon Island, but it's going to be on the outside where Mercury Beach is usually held.
Right.
So when Remedy is done, just take a
Head
cool
over,
walk.
you
Come
level
to
up,
Transcend. Exactly.
and you come to Transcend.
Yeah.
So that's where we'll be. So don't you miss it. And when we come back, we have so much more in store. See you soon. Thank you so much for coming back. And well, if you're just joining us, you are watching This Morning right here on DBS, and I'm your host, Chayla Mendes. Now, my guest does not need any introduction. He is the man behind the voice on your midday radio. It's TC Brown in the building.
Hi there, hi Chayla.
Hi, TC.
Thanks for having me here. Good morning.
And thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Now, we know this week for so many of our artists is very intense.
Hectic.
Very hectic.
Yes.
And of course, you've made it to finals
Yeah.
for Calypso competition.
Yeah.
So how are you managing? Because of course, you're a radio personality.
Yeah.
You are taking part in the finals. And of course, we know you dabble in so many other things. How are you coping?
Managing it all.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot. But time management is very important. Even for you trying to book me, the back and forth. You had
Listen,
to be going.
He is a very busy man, very hard to get.
But yeah, time management is very important, and I take it very, very seriously. I like to know what I'm going to do the next day. So I set up my day before. I know what time I'm going to leave, what time I'm going to move, how long I'm going to stay, and I really try to manage it like that. If not, you're going to miss out. Yeah, Calypso, I produce as well,
Right.
in production. What else? Yeah, just a whole lot of things, keeping the Calypso alive, recording the tents.
Right. Now,
Are we involved in all that?
Now,
yeah.
this is something really important that I wanted to highlight. I recently found out that you are responsible for allowing us to even hear Calypso on the radio because you've made provision for it to be recorded and then be able to be aired at the stations, right?
Yeah, my company, Shanga Productions, we're responsible for that. And it's good, you know, I put in the proposal to the CMC at the time, and, you know, really nice because it has always been my passion. I've done it with Ambassadors, I've recorded Soca Village, but the overall Calypso season is the first time we're doing that, and we're really excited about it. And we really took it up a notch, you know, from recording the tents to, you know, going back in studio and mastering it for recording, for airplay on radio stations. It's been a task, but a labor of love, let's call it that, a real labor of love.
And you know what's really good to see? Recently, everybody has been saying, you know, elections came and, you know, kind of put a spoke in Carnival and people were worried for the entire season. Now, you are one of the persons, again, pioneering right now in Calypso because it's been on the decline. And what exactly would you suggest, or how can you see Calypso being relevant throughout?
I think it's a very good question, and I'm happy you're asking that question because Calypso's biggest problem, believe it or not, is the Calypsonians. You know, and I keep saying that, and probably I'm one of the bravest ones to say that because it's the truth, you know, and I will say it over and over. Calypsonians are the biggest problem. And when we learn to come together as a unit, that's when I think the public will appreciate Calypso more, because as it is now, I don't think the Calypsonians themselves are putting in enough in the art form to take it up. And me coming back in Calypso, well, coming back on stage, because I've never really left. You know, I haven't been on stage, you know, but I've still been recording Calypsos for the past few years.
Exactly, and you're known for all those pan songs too.
There you go, you know, still recording pan tunes, and I've still been involved, but not on stage. You know, I decided to come back on stage, so to make my voice a little more powerful, because it's hard to say, you know, well, let's take the Calypso up, and I'm not on stage. So I decided, you know what, step one, get back on stage, and start to put the fire on them again, you know. So it's my call out to the Calypsonians. I really want them to get more involved, and not the seasonal approach. You know, like, you know, 3 months from now, it's Calypso, so everybody get out of the woods and say, hey, you have a song for me or what? Even the writers would go to Calypso and say, oh, you want to sing a song? You know, so what happens for the rest of the year? Absolutely nothing. And that I want to see change. I want Calypsonians to be more involved, you know, year-round, and not just Calypso season, you wake up and say, hey, you know what, I'll sing Calypso this year. I think more needs to be done. You know, and it starts with the Calypsonians.
Great. And what are your views? Because, of course, this year they decided to lower the minimum age, which allowed younger persons now to take part.
Well, there's no age. Basically, you have a Calypso and you involve in a tent, you know, the stage is yours. You know, my views on that is it's somewhat of a mixed feelings, you know, because I believe there should be enough for the youth to do. And there is this gap from junior Calypso and the big yard. There is a gap, and I think we need to fill in that gap. Again, we've been talking, those that involved in the Calypso, we've been talking about creating a Junior Kings. You know, so when they get out of the junior, they would have that other thing to look forward to, Junior so Kings, like rather than the big yard. You know, and it can be intimidating, you know. I mean, I've been speaking to Sizzler because he's now a 10th Ambassadors, and he has no fear, which is good. But, you know, I still feel there should be that stage for the juniors. So you leave your junior Calypso, and there's like a young king kind of competition, you know, and from there you could graduate. That's where I would like to see it go. But as of this year, I kind of cool on it because we almost didn't have Calypso this year. That's what the public didn't know. If the former Prime Minister, you know, Dr. Kenny Anthony didn't step in and say, hey, let's rescue Calypso, we wouldn't have Calypso this year. So, you know, and one of these, the things he wanted was, you know, to just get rid of all the little you know, the little things that were locking it down in terms of the age limit, because really there isn't a Calypso Association. So all that was Calypso Association. These were their rules. So let's put aside all their rules and let's focus on something fresh just for this season. Hopefully, you know, we could fix all these things moving forward, you know, but I honestly believe there needs to be a young king's competition for both male and female.
Great. And, you know, with the Calypso season, you know, kind of coming to the climax right now.
Super Saturday.
Exactly, Super Saturday.
Battle Royale.
All happening. What do you have to tell our viewers the reason why they should come out and not miss the Calypso action?
It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be an awesome competition. I don't think we've had that kind of excitement in years, especially with semi-finals. You know, and when you look at the lineup for finals, it's crazy. I mean, you're looking at Pep, former Monarch, six-time Monarch. Right. Pep, you're looking at Invader, who won it countless of times as well, both Road Match and the Calypso Monarch. There's Minel in there as well, and no stranger to winning the Monarch. Nintas is a Monarch in there as well. Educator is a former Monarch in there. Myself, TC Brown, another former Monarch in there. I think on that line alone, it's something worth coming to, you know, who's going to go with that title on Saturday. Even I'm excited. I'm truly excited about it because, you know, I put in all the T's together and crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's because I want to bring it on Saturday because it's going to be exciting being among those, you know, top artists, top Calypsonians. It'll be something, and if you're not there, you're really going to miss out on something epic, something historical, I think, will go down on Saturday.
Great. Well, TC said it. I can't even say it better than that. So you have no reason to miss coming out to finals. On Saturday, it's going to be a battle royale, as you said.
Battle royale,
so
yes.
We will see you on Saturday. And this kind of wraps it up for our show today. But we have so much more in store. It's going to be even more exciting. So we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye. Good morning.